Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy to have you with me this evening. A bit past 7:30 on the East Coast. Yes, I know I'm late, damn it. I know I'm late. It's true. I am under a lot of deadlines. That's what I'll say. I'm under a lot of deadlines that I'm trying my best to make happen, and it has been very challenging. But I have still wound up finding time to say hi to all of you today. And there was something, I had a couple things I had considered talking about this evening. A couple. I thought about not doing a show, but my team gets mad at me when I don't do shows. And so I don't want them yelling at me. So I'm doing one today on something I thought was kind of interesting. And that is RFK next week being at his confirmation hearings. And also, not just that, what's going to happen if and when he's confirmed and after. Why am I bringing this up? If you remember, when we first talked about this, I had my doubts. Remember, I was very doubtful over the summer, right? Right after RFK Jr. jumped on the Trump train. If you remember, I was one of the people who was doubtful. I was very suspicious. I will retain that. I am anti-government by default, so I'm always suspicious of the government, right? Don't get me wrong, Trump's done some good things. You know what? I have been negative. I have been, maybe pensive is a better word. I have not been jumping me down. So I was concerned. That's all I'm saying. I was concerned. So, and I mentioned over the summer, look, even if RFK Jr. is able to be confirmed, there's another piece to this. And that is, will he be able to get the people around him who will also assist him in moving everything forward? That was my other piece that I brought up and I was very concerned about. The piece that I'm talking about here is this an issue to where he gets in the power, but then can't succeed? And my worry was, this is the worst outcome. It would be better, less bad if RFK Jr. simply is not confirmed. He can then go off and do his own thing and try to make things happen again, maybe run for office again, whatever the case may be, right? He can do something else and still try to win. The worst part would be if RFK Jr. is confirmed and then fails miserably, because then not only is he finished, but then on top of that, people can say, see, he was the crazy guy that we said, right? He's the nutty guy that we said, and he failed, and all his stuff is bad. So nobody else listen to him. If anyone else talks about him, you're clearly bad like him. So that's what I was concerned about in the summer. And I brought this up more than once. So now the part that happened, which I liked, is initially RFK Jr. was put on the transition team, which great deal. He's on the transition team. His people will come on board. That's all good. But is it happening? That is my concern now. Is that actually happening? Because again, do I believe that RFK Jr. is going to be confirmed next week? Yes, I do believe that. I think he's still going to be confirmed. My worry is, will there be no one around him to assist? Will they set him up for failure? And you might say, but Larry, I don't like RFK Jr. stuff. I think he's bad on X or Y. Okay, I get that. Lots of people don't like what he's doing or that kind of thing. It doesn't matter, to be forward with you. Why? If you want change agents like him must be successful in some way, because they will push this idea for any change agent. So now you want something. You don't care about RFK Jr. You care about something else. And that person moves up. See, just like RFK, you can't get it done. That's what happens, right? That's the problem. When one anti-establishment guy fails, they say, see, nobody can. You guys can't win. Look what happened to RFK. That starts happening. This is why I'm extra concerned. And even if you don't like what RFK Jr. is doing, if you like the establishment, I'm not sure why you're watching the show, but if you do, then don't listen to me. Who cares? Let RFK fail. You'll be happy. You like the swamp. Life is good. You might think that sounds dumb. There are lots of people who love the swamp, who love the establishment, and they're making lots of money off of it. Those people get rid of RFK. Doesn't matter. Establishment is right. You're all wrong. But if you don't like the establishment, again, whether you like what RFK Jr. is doing or not, if you do want change, if you want something to break and change, you should be hoping that RFK Jr. is successful. Because if he's successful, then others will follow. This is why I'm so concerned about this and why I talk about it. I do have a worry. That's an issue. I do have a worry. Now, past my worry, I'm going to ask you something. I have one more worry. My worry is, are you hitting the button known as like Lima, India, Kilo, Echo? That's a worry I have. You should be clicking that button. It does matter. Please click it so that more people can see this. And if you like it, then why be a liar to yourself? Be truthful in your own heart. Click that damn button. Also, if you can share or repost it now, that will be amazing if you do that. If you are not subscribed or follow yet on Facebook, X, and Rumble, do all of those if you could. You can always super chat me if you like. That's awesome. Super chats on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. It's all great if you want to. All your comments go right to the front if you do so. Make sure when you subscribe that you click all notifications. Some of you have reached out and let me know that you did not do that. You found out you did not click that button. So click that button. Only 14% of you have. That's very, very low. So please do that. Again, if you want to become a member, love that. Click that join button on YouTube. Membership does matter. If I have more members, I'll spend less time getting stuck handling clients and more time doing this. So yes, a member on Rumble also. Click subscribe during the live for $4.99 per month. You can do that too if you would like. I would hope you would. If you feel motivated, please do so. All right. So I want to go further on this, but first I'm going to grab a couple of comments. I'm going to walk down a couple of past if I could. So Kate says, it's 1:29, 10 a.m. in D.C., the Kennedy Senate hearing. Yes, that's correct. The weird part is I will actually be in D.C. that day, but not there. I'll be doing something else based upon politics there. I'll be doing some other lobby-like activity. That's what I'll say. I don't want to go further. I'll get myself in trouble. That's where, so I'll be doing something else, but I will not be doing that. So yes. Ron says he dropped his supporters like rocks. I'm not sure what that means. Ron, are you saying RFK Jr. dropped his supporters? I'm not sure what you're saying, what you mean by that. If you could elaborate, I'd appreciate that. Phil says all the RFK, JFK, and MLK documents were classified. This is why I'm not so worried, because Trump has done things that he said. So I'm getting something out of this. So I can't complain about this, right? This is a good thing. This is what I wanted. I'm getting it. So yes, I want to be clear. I'm always skeptical of government, but this is good. This is absolutely. So this part I'm very happy about 100%. So yes. John says, I'm excited for tonight's topic. I'm going to walk down a couple roads down here, John. I think you may enjoy. I'm going to walk down a couple of them. Yes. All right. Shelly says, I'd love to have RFK Jr. called into the show. I'm going to try to get him on a show one of these days. I will. Now is not the right time at all, Shelly. I agree with you. I would love it. I would love it too. I'm just saying, I don't think that's going to happen today. John also says, CBS News Tonight just reported Trump signed the executive orders. Yes, he released Ross. He released these files. And people asked me, was it last night, 2 nights ago? Did I think he'd do it? I said, yes. And why? This is the piece about Trump that is important now. And I think I mentioned this to you before. Trump recognizes, and his team does too. I'm saying Trump, I mean his entire team. They recognize that no matter what happens, initially it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, right? It's probably going to happen. Again, it happened with Reagan. Look, Reagan 1981 wasn't so great. By the time 84 came around, people jumping for joy. So 81, not great. 84, jumping for joy. I think Trump is going to be thinking the same thing. So he wants to be popular. He will do popular things. And it may sound silly, but popularity is what gives him time. It gives him time. It allows the Americans to go, yeah, it's okay. Yeah, okay. I know it's not that good right now, but it's fine. Malay required a year. He got a year for things to get better. Trump needs that too. So I think he's going to do things like this. And I think I'm being okay with it. So it's working for me. I'm sure it's working for others. So yes, I think that piece is true. So Mike Voss in the house should be interesting. Always interesting. Mike, come on now, brother. John says no sound bites. Talking to Mike. I love the short video. Yes. So me and Mike were on last week, 3 days ago, and I just posted a video on YouTube if you want to see it. So yes, I'm glad you guys are noticing those. I do appreciate that. Rick says, hit the like button or this dog will bite Larry. That's a cat, but that's okay. I appreciate it. All right, let me keep going on. I got a bunch of these. I want to make sure you guys are all seen. First piece I want to bring up, and that is him getting confirmed. Next week, Wednesday, I believe, he's going to be getting confirmed. Or, sorry, he's going to be having the first day of his confirmation hearings. It is going to be a circus, right? It is going to be a circus, expected to be so. And of course it would be. There's no doubt it would be. There are going to be people who are going to be jumping on board for two sides of this. Two sides. Side one, this will be Democrats who are going to support him, the types like the Cory Bookers. They are going to jump on board and they're going to say things like, I know you care about the children, even though I disagree. They're going to do their virtue sitting like, you're crazy, vax guy, or whatever. They're going to do that, guaranteed, and then go, but your love of children, or something like that. And that's how Democrats who will want to show like they're not partisan, they'll do that. Hey, I'm not a crazy lefty. I'm a regular mainstream guy. Republicans in my state, you can vote for me. And if I want to run for president in 2028, see, I'm not hateful. Look at me. Guys like Booker and others will do that kind of thing on Wednesday. You can guarantee it. They will say I know you're crazy here, but the children or the people, they'll do that kind of thing. And they will praise Bobby Kennedy Jr. They will praise him. They will say, with this exception, and praise. That will happen. And that will be good for Bobby. And that'll be good for them too. They will use that in their commercials and all their good things. They'll raise money off it. That's part of the circus. There'll be some Republicans who do that too. Republicans who are in more purple districts will also not want to seem like they're too partisan, right? If you're in a deep red, you don't care. But if you're in purplish, you'll be like, well, again, same thing. They're going to act like he's still a vax nut or whatever. They're going to do that. But they're going to then shift over to the food thing. Now, what Republicans will also do is they will touch the most important pieces, which is abortion, big issue, energy. When it comes to energy and abortion, RFK Jr. is nowhere near Republican. Nowhere near Republican. He is as Democrat as they could be in those two issues. Trump mentioned it during the summer, which actually made me feel better when he said he can't stay away from energy. You can't touch that. Right? He's like, you got to stay away from that. You can't be around that. That actually made me feel better. I began to feel like he was real when he said that. This is true. Republicans do the opposite. I don't like your view on abortion, but the children and the kids and food, they're doing the same thing. That's how they're going to do it. Now, there's also going to be a bunch of people who are in red states. They may want to beat up on Bobby Kennedy on those issues, energy and abortion. They may want to beat him up on that. They may want to. Right now, there's a PAC. I believe Mike Pence is involved. I think Mike Pence is involved in this PAC that right now is spending a bunch of money trying to pressure senators to beat up on Bobby Kennedy Jr. Now, why would they do that? Is there a realistic chance that RFK Jr. does not get confirmed? I don't think so. I think he will get confirmed. But why would you do that? Okay, this is the most important piece for the establishment. This is for establishment Republicans. Establishment Republicans don't want to change the party so much they can't get it back. Let me say it again. They don't want the party to change so much they can't get it back or they can't retain power. Now, Trump's bad enough. They already don't like Trump. So that's already a problem. They're like Trump. And now I got to deal with these dudes. Oh, bridge too far. I'm already struggling to deal with Trump. And now I deal with this guy? No. We got to do something. What does that mean? Even if he can't get confirmed, if he is battered enough from what they will call the hard right wing, which actually isn't, just more conservative. But remember, the establishment, when it needs something, will become a hardcore conservative because they need something. Then they'll go right back to an establishment. But they will shift and be like, no, I'm Mike Pence. They'll just become that. And then all of us go back to being an establishment as soon as they need to get their stuff done. But so that's where they are now. The super conservatism is where they will beat up on Bobby Kennedy Jr. next week. Why am I saying this? I hope his team or someone from his team is watching this and listening. In the past, I've noticed that sometimes they don't listen, but I'm always right in these things. So if you're listening, Bobby Kennedy Jr. team, this is what's going to hit him. So he's got to be able to dodge off of this. If he does it well, life is good. Now, the other thing is, if he doesn't do it, Michael Larry, if he doesn't do it, isn't that good for them? It is. If he actually fights back, that is what makes it a circus. That's how the Republicans get their commercials. See, I know it's Trump, but I care about my conservative values even more than Trump, right? That's the commercial, right? So this is a mistake by Trump, and I love Trump, and I'll stand up to for my conservative values, right? They'll do that anyway, right? And that piece is what they'll try to do. That's the circus part I was talking about. They'll do that piece. Now, if he doesn't do that, if he just goes, okay, whatever, that's less for them and better for him. Because the second piece they want to do, why do I have people honking outside? I hope you guys don't hear that. I do live in a city, so it does happen. Any case, not everyone respects my Quonset hut, clearly. In any case, the other piece we have to bring up here is if they're able to beat him up enough, they begin to box him out for 2026 and 2028. And the establishment wants to make sure that RFK Jr. is not in a position to have any power in the Republican Party for 2026 and 2028. Now, does Trump care about that? Probably not, to be forward. Trump, if it power is power, doesn't. Trump probably doesn't care, to be forward. Probably he does not care at all whether or not RFK Jr. has power in 2026 or 2028. Doesn't matter to him, right? Trump's set, he's good. Now, do certain aspects of the Republican establishment care about that? Oh, yes, indeed they do. They do not want that to happen. If they beat him up now when 2026 comes around, they can make sure that he's not one of us. See, we told you. Look at what happened. He's really one of them. That kind of thing is what they'll throw at him so that he's unable to gain traction within the Republican Party. That is one of the reasons why you're seeing Republicans now step out against him. But note, the Republicans stepping out against him are conservative establishment Republicans. And that doesn't always go together. Conservatives and establishment don't always go together. In this case, they do. So they bring them together to make sure they can push that idea. That is their goal. So I hope that makes sense what I'm talking about. That's what you will see them, how they will attack him. All right. You might say, okay, I don't care. Fine. What about him getting confirmed? As long as he gets confirmed, that's all I care about that. Well, there's the second piece. If he gets confirmed, he will need to get things done. Now, there was a video, if I can find it. It was on, oh my God, it was on X I saw. I'm looking through it right now. I'm going to show a little chunk of it. Okay, yeah. The video is from, the video was posted by End Tribalism in Politics on X, but it's from O'Keefe Media Group. You know O'Keefe, that guy, right? You know that guy. He was with, I forgot where he was with, that other group. Then he left it where they fired him or whatever. He's gone, whatever. And he started his own thing. And it's talking about a guy who's a White House advisor named Byron Cohen. Now, I don't know if this guy's real or not, because sometimes we just talk trash and act like they're super cool guys when they're not super cool guys. So he may not be a real powerhouse or whatever. I don't know. But I'm going to show you this video. And you'll see, you can pick what you want. What this guy is saying is true. That's what I'll say. Is he really the heavy hitter he says? I don't know. Oh, yeah. Michael Voss said, yeah, Veritas, Project Veritas. Yes, Project Veritas was who he's with. Let me show you this so you'll see it. And again, I don't know if this guy is real or not. I have not checked him out. What he's saying is true. So I think he's real, but I don't know if he's real, but I know what he's saying is true. Let me see if I can get this here.
I think like RFK Jr. is a very bad pick for HHS.
Can you guys maybe like micromanage RFK?
Now he's saying that okay, I can just micromanage. She said, can you just micromanage him around, right? You can just control him. And that part is a real fear, right? And to a certain extent, that happened to Trump in 2016. There were enough swamp people around him where they wound up micromanaging him. And if you remember, they wound up ignoring him. Like Trump said, do X, they went, we're not doing that. They just didn't do it. Like literally they ignored what Trump said. That actually happened in 2016. So they're thinking the same thing. And here's the problem with RFK Jr. Trump, to protect himself, which again, I get why Trump did this. Smart move on Trump's part. He said, Bobby Kennedy, you got 2 years to show me results. Now you might go, Larry, is that fair? I don't know if it's fair, but Trump has to protect himself, right? So 2 years. If these guys slow him down for 2 years, RFK's in trouble.
Okay. A little bit.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping someone just puts him in a closet. I mean, I honestly think that is probably, there's a good chance that the bureaucracy just crushes him.
Do you hear what he just said? There's a good chance the bureaucracy just crushes him. Didn't I say that last summer? Literally what I said? Yeah.
Because like,
And
to
that
get
would be you guys, right?
not us so much as HHS. And so it's not just a matter of like ordering people to do things you want to do, because they have ways that they can slow things down.
This is the second thing I said last. If you remember last summer, I was saying exactly this. This actually was last fall. And I said, my worry is he gets in charge and says, let's change X. And then the people say, great. So before we get the X, we'll do a report and give you a report on it. He'll go, great. And that report will get, oh, tomorrow. 6 months later, the report happens. So you get the report 6 months later when it was supposed to happen yesterday. And they slow you down and slow you down and slow you down and throw up a law and throw up a lawsuit that slows you down. Now, how do you get around that? Well, if you're an executive, you get around that. In other words, if you're a governor or a president, you get around it. Trump just says, executive order, shut up, right? Governor Hochul, executive order, shut up. That's it. You just do that. All good. How does he do that if he's not an executive? He will need Trump's backing. That is my worry, right? That is my worry. My worry is that Trump will not back him like that. I hope he will. And again, Trump's been good with things he said. And Trump was even good. He said he did the RFK, JFK thing and gave the pen to RFK Jr. Nicely done. That was great. I'm hoping that will happen, but that is my concern.
Block you without you realizing it. They're like, people joke about the deep state, but
I don't joke about the deep state.
like to some degree it's real. What
to
I will
every
say
degree
is
it's real.
like the bureaucracy will do what is in the bureaucracy's interests.
This is literally what I say like every week. Like every week I say that. Now this guy who's I guess works in there. I'm assuming this is real. I don't know if it is, but I'm assuming it is. This guy's real. Even if he's not real, he's saying the truth. So either way, it's truthful. I hope he's real. But my point being, it's what I say. Bureaucrats want to do one thing. They want to cover their own ass more than anything. More than anything. Yes. Pickerbell says, James, thanks for being a member, Pickerbell. James gets pretty girls to go on dates with low-level employees and record them. The reporting is as reliable as whatever dude's trying to get lazy on dates. Valid point, which is why I said I'm not sure. But here's the worst part. Pickerbell, the dudes never learn. Like, they never learn. This is like the guy who used to catch the men who went and did the little ones. That guy, have a seat. That guy, they never learn. They're always getting caught and they still keep going. This guy too. So yeah, it is very funny. Yes. It keeps happening. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Can you elaborate a little bit?
Like an agency is not going to want to give up money or control without a fight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. That's natural.
And he's happy with this. Yeah. Remember I told you there are lots of people who are totally happy with the swamp. I wasn't making that up. This guy, assuming he's an actual advisor, assuming he is, the story he said is that he's like a contractor. That's the story he told this girl, assuming it's real. I mean, maybe to Pinkerbell's point, maybe he's trying to impress her somehow. He's some tough guy, hoping he's going to get in their pants. I get it. Guys do that. That could be it. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to say he's at least close to real. He's happy. He's like, I'm getting paid. This is great. Great.
And there's sort of always ways they can fight back. Maybe they lose eventually, but like they can slow things down. They can.
Now, yes, I'll end that piece. But the reason why I'm saying I want to show you that is that was my point. The permanent Washington or the deep state, whatever you want to call it, or the swamp, whatever name you want to call it, they know that they're going to stay around. They're going to stay around. So, however, if they can draw this out for 3-4 years and then Bobby Kennedy gets fired, they're good. They're good. You know, You might go, but Larry, they won't change things. They won't serve the public. They don't care. You think this guy cares about serving the public? You think anyone around him does? No. Now, am I saying all them are bad? No, I'm not. All the leadership is bad. Yes. Yes. The average worker who goes into work for the government is probably trying to do the right thing. I believe that. Most of the leadership, they've already figured it out. Like they're already in grift mode, right? If you're able to get high up into that, you're in a grift mode, like you just are. Which is why some of the people who are looking at getting appointed, I am concerned about. Some of them I am concerned about. And that's the piece I want to also bring up if I could. There's a couple things I want to bring up, and that the other thing is some other people who are already talking about. So yes. All right, let me go over, if I could, really quickly to Instagram. And Laura says, what's thoughts on RFK as Libertarian nominee for 28? I've always said this about RFK Jr., and I thought it was the same thing with 2024. And as usual, people didn't listen to me. The only way that RFK Jr. can become the Libertarian nominee is if, one, he starts early, and number two, he is open about it. He would have to literally come out and go, hi, Libertarians, I'm not Libertarian. And which he did, by the way. When he came to our convention, he did not say he was a Libertarian. He expressed what parts of Libertarian philosophy he agreed with. I think that is the best way, right? I think that's the best way of doing it. Come to the Libertarian parties look at each state and say, hey, I'm a Libertarian, but here is where I agree. A lot of parts I don't. Can we make this a transaction? And be very upfront. If you guys make me your nominee, I'll get you 5%. You know that. I'll get 5%. You'll be able to have matching funds for 2032. And you can give me whatever, VP you want to give me. I'll take your VP pick, and they'll be set for 2032. This is transactional. I'm able to make impact in 2028. You guys are set for 2032. I'm not a Libertarian. I have some Libertarian views. Here's what we're going to get. I'm not going to change my other views. So don't ask me. Not going to happen. This is what I'm going to do. And then have the delegates vote and decide if the Libertarian Party wants to have a transactional presidential election or not. Now, I'm not saying that will work. I'm saying that's the only way for it to work. If that's done, Libertarians might go, okay, we accept that deal. We will take a transactional piece. Just don't lie to us. Tell us the truth. We'll take, let us give you our VP, so we can set our VP up for president run in 2032, that you will get us up at least 5%, and we're good. That could happen. But him just walking in, that's never going to happen. That's not a thing, Laura. He's not just going to come in and be a 2028 Libertarian nominee. It's not how it works. He would have to be open, early, transparent, and then all the people have to go, okay, yeah, we're prepared for that. And they may not. It depends. Libertarians are notorious virtue signalers. So if they can't virtue signal, they may not want to do it. They're like, wait a minute, I can't. Wait a minute, you're going to give me actual results that I can use in 2036 and give me ballot access in all 50 states and give me the 5% so I can become real and maybe even win? No, I need to virtue signal. Larry, how can you say that? Because that's what happened this year, or last year, I'm sorry, when I gave them Lars Mapstead, the guy who could have given them something. They went, no, we can't virtue signal, and that's all that matters to us is virtue signaling. So no, we're going to go with our virtue signaler, and they got it, and we got our ass kicked. So I went long on that, but Laura, I hope that answers your question. So any case, I'm glad I grabbed that one. So that was clear on that. I'm trying to grab a couple more of these comments if I could. And okay. Lazy Clown 436, thank you for the $2. I appreciate it. Did you and Trump meet at the LNC last year? I did not meet Trump at the LNC last year. He had a lot of security, and I was not waiting for him. I was out meeting the people. I met everyone else I could meet out there, so that was good. I did meet RFK again, which I had before. Also, Nicole Shanahan. So I met those guys, but I did not meet Trump. I met Trump. I think I told you the story. I met Trump 20, 30 years ago, whatever, maybe 20 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it was 20, in New York before he was running for president. He was doing The Apprentice. And when I met him, it was tons of other people. I'm sure he does not remember me at all. I was one of like a group of people who shook his hand outside of Trump Tower, which used to be a block from where my office was. in Manhattan. So I just walked over there when he was doing some kind of press thing for The Apprentice. And I went over there and I shook his hand and like with a bunch of other people. So I'm sure he does not remember me at all. He did look at me. So maybe there's something in the back of his brain that might remember my face somewhere. I don't know. But that's the only time I met Trump. And again, it was, I think, about 20 years ago. He was not running for president then. He hadn't even gone down the escalator, and none of that stuff had happened yet. He was still the apprentice guy at the time. So anyway, I hope I answered your question. All right, let me walk down a little bit more before I walk down this road. Kim says, RFK made a unity party with libertarians. No, he did not. He came to us, and what people are talking about is a lot of libertarians did vote for Trump last year. That's true. Probably between 500,000 and 1 million. That is my assumption. There's really no way of, you can guess, right? But there's no way you can actual number. I think it was about 500,000 to 1 million because libertarians tend to get over 1 million votes every year. The highest we ever got was Gary Johnson, which was 4.5 million votes. It's the largest we've ever gotten, and which is about 3% of the population that of the vote. I'm sorry, 3% of the electorate, not the population, the electorate. That was the largest that we'd ever gotten. After that, before that, we get around a little over 1 million, 1.5 million in that area, something like that, 1 million, 1.5 million. We only got about 400,000. So my assumption is somewhere between 1 million and 500,000 million left our nominee and went to Trump. So that is what he means when he says the libertarian movement supported him, probably about somewhere in that area. And again, is that important? Yeah. Right. I mean, that chunk, plus now you add the RFK Jr. chunk, which was at least 3 million, maybe 4 or 5 million. Again, you're guessing on that one, right? I don't know where that is, but I'm 100% sure at least 3 million. So say 4 million to be in the middle, say 750,000 for libertarians and other people. So he probably got about, I don't know, 5 million votes from independents. Now, does that mean he would have lost the election? Yeah, he might have still won the election, but he would not have had the decisive victory that he had without these two combinations. RFK brought more than libertarians did, but those two together is what definitely made it more decisive. I hope that answers your question, Kim. So, all righty. I do want to walk down a couple of these. Oh, okay. Phil, you get a pink slip. You get a pink. Now, here's the issue. Could he do that? Yes and no. And Vivek talked about this. You really can't just walk in and start firing people. And because of union issues and legal issues, you really can't. I mean, you can, but there's a lot of damage. So there are only two ways around that. Option one is what Vivek talked about, Ramaswamy talked about, which is you have to reorg effectively. I know I'm a business consultant. I have reorged, right? So, Phil, I can't fire you. Your job no longer exists. Now, the problem is if you're an average everyday person, you don't know what that means or how it works. So you go, oh, that sucks. And you take your unemployment and you leave, right? But if you're savvy and you do this for a living, you look for the replacement and see if it matches. If the replacement matches, in other words, I went from office manager to executive assistant, the job is the same. Yeah, you didn't really reorg, did you? You just changed the title and fired me. Well, if I have a union issue or if I'm in like New York, which you can basically sue your employer for anything, anytime you want, just because, you just sue and you get more money or you get your job back or you punish them and you put the small business out of business. Oh, however you want to just punish people because you can. In a government, same idea. So he has to either reorg very intelligently. Ramaswamy's been doing that for years. Most people who are investors who go in and trash companies know how to do it. Sadly, I do too. Just being forward, I also know how to do this. So you can just trash companies that way if you want to, and or the president flies cover for you. Again, my point: will Trump fly cover? If Trump simply says no, you will watch it stop. It'll just stop. So those are the two ways that he could do it. If he could do it, I do hope that's something that will happen. That would be great. So yes. All righty. Far NorCal Meat says, I've always been puzzled by the people who say RFK Jr. is crazy when in reality he's the only one with any real common sense. Well, this is the most important piece, and what people don't get. The system now isn't working. Most people get that part. So we want some change. That's the issue. The problem is you might go, well, Larry, it's because these guys, they're not doing their jobs. They're messing up. No, they're doing just fine for themselves. I know I've said this 1,000 times. I'll keep saying it. The Democratic Party last year got its butt kicked. And what was the big change? Wait a minute. Oh, right. Nothing. The leadership is the same. Nothing changed. They haven't even stopped the way they talk. They've changed nothing. Nothing's changed. Now, one guy in leadership changed because he retired. That's it. Otherwise, they're the same. They're doing just fine. So, yeah, that's the bigger issue. Peace Logic, how are you doing, sir? Over on Rumble says, you don't fire them, you resign them. Who knew there were so many available positions in Alaska? Reassign them. Sorry, reassign them. Who knew there were so many positions available in Alaska? Yes. But again, that becomes an issue too. Trump had an executive order to get them back to work, Peace. He had to sign an executive order so they would show up at the office. Now you reassign them to Alaska? Not saying you're wrong, just saying, look, it's not easy. These guys who've been around for a while, it's not easy. That's all I'm saying. So you have a valid point. I'm just saying it's tough. That's all. All righty. Let me, if I could, I do want to talk about now some other people who are being appointed. I'm looking at a list that I see here right now. There are a lot of people who are not even nominated now in the HHS world. A lot who even aren't nominated yet. Now, my hope is, and this is my hope. My hope is because they're seeing if Bobby Kennedy Jr. is nominated. If he's nominated, he's going to pick them. Now, I don't know that to be true, but I'm saying, why are you not nominating anybody? Why are you not announcing anybody in these positions, right? I think they're like, okay, you might not get nominated, so I don't want to put these other guys up, and then they all get shot down because you got shot down. So you got to win first. Then, if you win, I'll give you the rest. Now, here's the one piece I am concerned, right? And I am concerned about, I think it's kind of funny they put Mehmet Oz in, Dr. Oz is in. He's he's nominated for administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Dr. Oz. I think it's funny. I don't know if he's a good doctor. Like I don't know anything about. I know he's a talk show host guy. He's pretty good at that. He had a show for a long time, right? So he's good at that. Him and Oprah got along, so I guess that's good. But I don't know if he's any good at that. I don't know. He was supposed to be beat Fetterman. He was going to beat Fetterman. Didn't beat Fetterman. So he didn't beat Fetterman. So he not that good of a campaigner, I guess. So, but anyway, yeah. The one I'm worried about is Christy Grimm. Christy Grimm is already confirmed as the Inspector General. You might go, Larry, why do you care about Christy Grimm? Not the end of the world. However, Christy Grimm, I think, for those of you who might not know, she used to be deputy director. And she's been director for like 5 or 6 years, whatever it's been. It's been like, I think 5 years. So she was director initially right at the end of Trump. Whenever everybody was leaving, she was deputy director. Remember at the end when everybody was leaving before the 1-6 thing happened, right? That thing, everyone was leaving. Well, she became Inspector General because she was deputy Inspector General. So she just became that. So then Biden came in. So she just stayed on as Inspector General. And she's still Inspector General. And she's confirmed again as Inspector General. That scares me as swampy. Now, I could be wrong, and maybe I'm judging this woman unfairly. But that was my earlier point. If you moved your way up and you got up here and you were in charge of the CARES Act, that's swampy, is all I'm saying. That's swampy, is what I'm saying. Now, again, I've also mentioned this before. Trump is not going to get everybody that he wants. He has to fight with a deep state. He's got to. He's going to give something up. Maybe that was what he had to give up, right? Maybe he's like, look, I'll give you this one. You get this swampy, then you got to give me RFK, right? I'm going to give you this one. You got to give me that one. That might have happened too. And from what I understand from people who are telling me this, I do not have specific details. I have people who are telling me this. Trump has people like his son and others who are doing a lot of the negotiating back and forth. So that is what I think is going on. Now, however, there's some people who I am happy about. This Jeanette, woman who's going to be the Surgeon General. If I can pronounce her name right, I'm reading it now. Neshaiwat. I may be saying that wrong. Nishaiwat. Anyway, she's going to be the Surgeon General. All right, she's like, doesn't like a lot of things. So that's kind of good. I like that. Jay Bhattacharya, nice, good. It's going to be director of the NIH. That's not bad. Okay, we got some good ones there. But again, it's nominated. They have not been confirmed yet. Why not? They're waiting on RFK Jr. Yes. If for some reason he does not make it, I think it all falls apart. I don't make some of you scared, but I think it's true. If for some reason make it, it all falls apart. And I think a lot of the people know that. So some of them are rolling the dice on it and going, if you just knock this one pin down, it all collapses. So I think some people are concerned about that and trying to make that happen. As a general rule, though, I think he's still going to make it. I think it's going to be a lot of other issues. They're going to fight him on the pieces I talked about, right? They're going to try to make sure he gets no support so that when 2026 comes and 2028 comes, he has no support in the Republican Party. That's the piece they're looking for. They don't want him to have power in the Republican Party. That is their entire goal. All right, let me keep going down here if I could. All right, you guys give me a lot of comments. I want to try to grab some of these if I can. Libertarian says, Mike Pence is the epitome of everything wrong with the Republican Party. I disagree. I don't, Libertarian. And the reason why I say it is there's one thing about Mike Pence that most people respect. Not all, but most do. He's a true believer in conservatism. The guy is a social conservative, and he's open to who he is. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? He's open about it. You know who he is. He's not playing around. He is. That's who he is. And what you see is what you get. I'd rather have him than someone who pretends. At least he's like, this is who I am. That's it. That's who it is. So I do think, I don't think he's that bad relative to others. So yeah. Any case. All righty. Let me see if I can grab. I'm going to try to grab some of these longer comments. Some of you guys have thrown me a bunch at me, and I do want to grab some of these too. Social Destroyer says, I think RFK will do a great job on the Trump, but will the swamp let him in? Good question. I think they will let him in. I think the reverse is true. I'm on the opposite side. I think they'll let him in. The question is, will the swamp let him succeed? Here's the issue to remember. If I walk in, this is not like, it's not like it's a military unit. When I come in as the new commander or the new first sergeant, and I just start barking orders, and everyone goes, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, aye, sir, aye, sir, aye, sir, and doing stuff. That's not how this works. I mean, in theory it does. But again, this happened literally to the president, Trump, 2016. He started saying stuff, and they went, well, whatever. Whatever. We'll do some of it, some of it we won't. Yes. Lennon says, RFK Jr. is unbelievably brave. This part is absolutely true. And again, whether you like him or think he's a good guy or a kook or whatever you think he is, here's something you should understand and really get this. He was old enough to remember both his father and uncle being murdered. It's not like he was so little he doesn't remember it. He remembers it. He was a pallbearer for his father when he was like 14 or whatever it was, a teenager. That doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. Not just that, he said something that was really important that many people have never said. He said it is shameful for Biden to not give him protection. And one of the reasons is it's not about him. He said in every attempt on a candidate or president's life, somebody else is always hit. That's what he said. How does he know that? Because it happened all the times, and his father and his uncle got killed. Someone else got hit and or killed. When Reagan was shot, someone else got shot, right? When Trump was shot, other guy got killed. Someone else always gets hurt. That's how it works. And he said it. And he's like, I know I could get hit. I got it. I've accepted that as true. But there's people around me and get hit too. Because that's how it always works. And he's right. And he talked about that. And he says about that. And he knows it. Do you think he doesn't have a target on his head? I mean, it's not as much as Trump, clearly, right? Obviously, the number one guy now is Trump. Clearly, that's obvious. I'm not trying to equate him to that. I'm not. But compared to me and you, his target's way bigger than us. Not to Trump's level, way bigger than us. So yes. Joel over at Rumble says, I thought RFK Jr. would have an attempt on his life. The Dems hate him. Yes, it's true. They do, but they don't want to martyr him. They don't want to martyr him. They do not. If that happens, everything bad he's done goes away. That's how it works. Right? If you get martyred like that, everything bad goes away. He becomes the perfect person. Everything's perfect. He was awesome at everything. He's right. That's how that works. And they know that. So that's why they won't do that, Joel. So, all righty. Oops. Sorry, wrong one. Let me get rid of that. Garrett, thank you, my friend. Gifts 5. Sharpe membership. Thank you, Garrett. Please, guys, grab your memberships. Membership really does matter. I know I bug you every single show because every single show, it matters. That's why I keep bugging you. The more we do this, the more this grows. People see this. And here's the most important part. You know that guy named Mr. Rhythm? That's his last name is Rhythm. He's got a first name and a middle name. First name is Al. Second name is Gore. That's his middle name. His last name is Rhythm. So read it out. That guy loves when people become members. Loves when people share. Loves when people click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. He loves it. And then he helps move this around so that people can see it. So please do that if you would. Make sure you click notifications. If you become a member, please. Garrett just gave you options to do so. Please grab the membership. Become a member if you can. If you want to get your chat to the front right away, you can. Super chat me. Super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble, and you're right to the front. Boom. And I start picking them up as soon as I possibly can. So I hope that makes sense to all of you guys. All righty. Let me grab. All right. More comments. Okay. Mike says, Obama's popularity got him a second term based on he needs more time. Yes. Accurate, Mike. Trump needs the same and has basically 2 years for most things. Correct. And the happier that Americans are and they feel, this goes to my feels about all the time, feelings matter a whole lot. The better people feel about this and believe that he's going to do what he says, the more time he has. It's possible he can push that past 2 years if he's constantly doing things like the RFK and JFK stuff and it keeps going. He could maybe push it past 2 years, but I think you're right. It's going to be around 2 years, right? Give or take. Or if something really bad happens, right? If there's something, there's some horrible hurricane that messes things up and he doesn't do a good job of it or whatever. I mean, that could slow things down. But generally speaking, you're up at 2 years. However, if he is the peacemaker that he says he's going to be, that might also give him more time if he actually can do it. Again, don't know if he can. We discussed the other day. But if he can do it, that can also give him more time. Yes. Lunatic says, I'm not programmed like most individuals. And I mean that in the most respectful way to you possible. That was to someone else. But I've noticed that about you, Lunatic. I don't think you're wrong. I think you're correct. Yes. Vivek says, if the best of three parties were nominated, RFK Jr. would have been Democratic nominee, Vivek Republican, and Laura/Larry for Libertarians. Oh, thank you for that. That would have been a great run. I would have loved that. That's a great. Phil says, if it's a circus, can we get funnel cake? You should be selling that, Phil, not asking for it. Come on, brother. Why don't you do a watch party and sell funnel cake? I am a business consultant, my friend. That's what you should be doing. Yes, absolutely. 100%. 100%. So think for yourself, says RFK Jr. would have won hands down. You know, to give the Democrats, I want to give them, I'm going to be very honest with any Democrats who are watching, who want to understand this. It's very important to understand this. The Democrats could have fixed this. They only had to do one thing, only one. Just run a primary. That's it. Run a primary. If you run a primary, either Trump doesn't win or he barely wins. One of those things happen if they just run a primary. Why? You run a primary, RFK Jr. would have actually run the Democratic primary. He wouldn't have gone independent. He would have run the Democratic primary. So either he wins, that's option one, or he loses, and whoever wins brings RFK Jr. on board. Because you would have had a better candidate. You either would have magically had a better Harris. I don't know how you do that, but I'm just saying, in theory, scientific theory, you would, if Harris would have won, she would have had to be a far better candidate. She was a terrible candidate. She would have had to be a much better candidate, or someone else wins. Either one, right? So whoever else person would have been, RFK Jr., Marianne Williamson, whatever. Somebody else would have jumped on board. Would Cory Booker have jumped on? I don't know, whoever, right? Somebody else would have won. A better candidate than her would have won. If that person would have embraced RFK Jr., all of a sudden they get those people. So Trump either loses because now that Democrat gets that 3,000 to 5,000 votes, or that Trump doesn't do as well. He doesn't get the popular vote or something. So the way you could have affected this election was just by having a primary. That's it. That's it. And I can't imagine Harris winning the primary. If she would have somehow, I mean, she would have had to have a complete and utter makeover and the best team ever known to politics ever. I mean, that's the only way. I can't imagine her winning. I just can't. But anyway, run a primary and either Trump loses or he doesn't win he doesn't have this type of victory. It's a guarantee because he wouldn't have had, and probably Libertarians would have done better too, and Greens might have done better also. So some of those who won the Trump wouldn't have won Trump also. So I think all of that would have happened. So yeah, I don't know if he would have won hands down, but if RFK Jr. had won the Democratic primary, I think there was a chance RFK Jr. could have won the election. That's true. There's a chance. I'm not saying it's 100%, but I think he could have won. There's definitely a chance he could have won. Because at that point, he already would have gotten a bunch of independents. A lot of people were independents to jump on board the RFK train. And those people wound up jumping on the Trump train at the end. But they would have stayed on his train. So it's possible. He could have won. It's possible. I don't know how we would know, but I think it's definitely possible. So, yes. All righty. Grab some of these if I could. Ryan says, establishment Republicans are a huge reason why I'm not a Republican anymore. You are not alone. And I think that's true there is an anti-establishment sentiment across the country, across the world right now, actually across the world. People are seeing that the system isn't working. So it's across the world. A lot of people have left their party because of that. Democrats too. There are a lot of Democrats now who they can't be Republican because they've been told Republicans are evil for 30, 40 years of their life. But they shifted to independent because of RFK Jr. And they voted Republican this year because of RFK Jr. Those people, some of them will vote Republican, some won't. Most of them will never vote Democrat again because they're just so angry about that. They'd rather not vote or throw the vote away or vote for independent or whatever. Just stay at home. A lot of them. I met many of them who were like, I'll never do that again. So you're not alone, my friend. And it's on both sides, left and right. Absolutely. Liberty's with you. He says, same Ryan, that and the fraud I saw while in the Army during the early years of the Afghan and Iraqi wars. You know, a lot of veterans have become libertarians, like a lot, because they walk away from the establishment. They see the corruption that you talk about. They see the fraud, right? Yeah, I saw it too. I worked in an armory. And anyone who's worked in an armory, I ran an armory. I actually won a Navy achievement medal as an armorer. I'm not an armorer, but we didn't have one. So they went, Sergeant Sharpe, run the armory. Okay, I'm an armorer now. And I became an armorer for like 2 years. And okay, I now run the armory. And I actually won Navy achievement. I was the only one in the entire regiment to get an outstanding on the IG inspection. No one else got one but me. So I got a Navy achievement medal. Anyway, so yeah, and so you know what happens for those of you in the military, anything like that, armory, supply, any place like that, if you're in that area, and you guys often know why I know so much about weapons. I used to be an armorer in the Marine Corps and a marksmanship coach. So I was a marksmanship coach and an armorer in the Marine Corps. So I know about weapons. Yes. Any case, so what happens at the end of the fiscal year, which is October, is the end of the fiscal year for the federal government. All of a sudden you start losing stuff and breaking stuff and fixing stuff and buying stuff. Why? Got to spend your money. Yes, yes, and yes. 100%. So anyway, let me just keep going down there if I can. Ryan says, fear the Kwanzaa hut. Yes, they should fear my Kwanzaa hut. Yes. Mike says, if RFK does a Pine Bondi, he will override the attacks. More likely if he gets Hegseth treatment, and it's a matter of him overcoming the barrage of dignity with dignity. If not, he'll get bounced. Expect low blows. Yes, I think you can expect low blows. The advantage is RFK Jr. has been attacked forever. Like, he's been through this for a very long time. There probably aren't many low blows he hasn't heard already, right? So at least he'll have a good defense against that. The question is, will he get angry? And I get it. I get triggered sometimes too, Mike. You've seen me. When I get the same garbage again and again and again, at one point, I'm like, just stop, right? I get it too. My worry is that happens. He gets the same thing. You're crazy anti-vaxxer for like the 45th time. He's like, will you shut up already? That is my worry, that they'll break him with the same, not a new low blow, the exact same attack 4,000 times. That is my concern. So yeah, I don't know if he'll be bounced. He'll have to do something crazy to get bounced, but maybe. Pinkerbell says, he not like us. He not like us. He's not. They're not wrong, Pinkerbell. I mean, I don't mean to be mean. They're not wrong. RFK Jr. is not a Republican. If you've noticed, he didn't change parties. He's still independent. He hasn't become Republican. He's not. It's being forward, right? He's not. He's officially a Libertarian. Officially. He is. But Tulsi Gabbard is a Republican. But Tulsi Gabbard has always been conservative. Even when she was a Democrat, she was still a conservative Democrat. So it isn't shocking for her to become a Republican. But RFK was never a conservative. Not a thing. He's not a conservative. I'm not mad at him for it. I'm just being honest. That's not who he is, right? Why should he be a Republican? He's not a conservative. And I think most people who are Republicans know that, and they either just accept him because, okay, he's doing good stuff. He's not one of us. He's doing good stuff. Fine. Come on in. But I don't think they think that he's a Republican. Some people don't like it and like, you're not good enough. You ain't one of us. No. You out. So I do think there's some of that too. So anyway, all righty. Michael's on to say, same treatment that they did to Trump 45. Part of why Milley got a blanket pre-pardon. Correct. That's an accurate statement. Yes. Milley also did not do the things that Trump told him to do. Trump said do X. He said, I ain't doing that. And I don't mind, Mike, to be forward with you. I don't mind Milley not doing it. I don't. If he felt it was a bad rule or a bad law, bad order, yes. But you tell the president that, right? Mike, if you're the president and I'm your, one of your secretaries, you go, hey, Larry, go do a certain thing. And I go, Mr. President, I don't want to do that. That's not the right thing. Have a conversation. And then if I can't carry out your order, I resign. Acceptable. That's not a problem, right? I can feel you're wrong. I can feel it's bad. And if we have a relationship, we'll talk it out. And either I'm not going to do it, option 1, someone else do it, option 2, or I'll do it, option 3. But if it's not one of those 3, then I resign. That's how it works, right? But I have to tell you that. My problem is Milley just didn't do it. That is horrible. That's horrible. I do not have a problem with a cabinet member saying no to the president as long as they're openly saying no, expressing what they think. There's a conversation, and then whatever happens, happens. No problem with that. I hope all cabinet members do that. I hope all cabinet members who think the president is wrong will express they think the president is wrong. I hope they will all do that openly and have a conversation. And then either they do it or they don't, or they resign. All good. So yes. Kim says, RFK is a true Kennedy. He will succeed. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Look, to be forward, as I said, I want him to succeed. I think it's an important thing. I want him to succeed. Yes. Lunatic says, F the deep state. They can have their soul released to the next level if they want to. Well, yes. But, yeah. Jones says, faith, hope, and love drives RFK. He won't quit. Silent majority needs to support him. This part, Joan, you are on the money. As silly as it sounds, there needs to be a constant, obvious RFK Jr. support system out there. Why? People might go, Larry, this doesn't really matter, right? Come on. He's already there. He's got his thing. We're done. If you want to, you can think that. But remember, this is politics. And in politics, it's the mafia. So your contracts and agreements are carried out only if you have leverage. That's it. Or they're not carried out. You have to have leverage. You don't have leverage, I don't care. Doesn't matter. So what's leverage? Generally speaking, leverage is one of 2 things in politics. Votes or cash. If you have both, even better. Now, RFK Jr. does not have anywhere near the amount of cash that would move Trump. So cash is something, he's not going to be able to raise enough cash that will impress Trump at all. Trump has all the billionaires. That ain't going to work. So cash part, not going to work. but those votes do. You might go, Larry, who cares? Trump doesn't have to worry about getting elected. He doesn't care about those votes. Oh, yeah, he does. Why? 2026 Congress. Yeah, he does. Of course he does. Of course he does. He wants to make sure that he keeps his Congress. You see some of these districts, oh, you lose the election by 50,000 votes, 10,000 votes, 15,000 votes. Send Bobby Kennedy down there to have some conversations. He brings 10,000 people over. That's a win. That's a win. That's leverage. He knows that. His people know that. His consultants know that. Right? Mike and I were in New York, and Mike and I both run for office. We know the same thing, right? If I'm right now, still in New York State, depending upon where we are across the state, I could probably pull, give or take, 2 to 3% of the population of the electorate, right? Now, if you're in a gerrymandered district, you don't care about me. You're gonna win by 30 points. Who cares about Larry Sharpe? What if you're in a 50-50 district and you're not sure? That's when I get a phone call. Because in that specific case, I have leverage. In that specific case. Now, is that all the time? No. There's years when I get more than one call and years when I get no calls. No one cares about me at all. And I'm not mad. This is the game I'm in. This is the world I'm in. It's about leverage. I don't have leverage. I don't matter. I have leverage. All of a sudden, I'm somebody's best friend. Just how it works. I understand that, right? Mike knows it too. Mike's played this game too. If you can't move the needle, the amount that they need it moved, you don't matter. Can you move that needle? Either with votes or money. Now, I can't raise enough money to compete with Republicans or Democrats. So the money part they got. The money part they got. That's not a thing. I can raise money. Relative to independents, I raise good money. Relative to Democrats, Republicans, I'm like RFK there. I can't play in that game. But can I play in you need a couple percentage of votes? Yeah. And it happened actually, was it 2018? No, 2020? I forgot, 2019 maybe. I think it was 2019. I think it was. It was when someone here in Queens was trying to run for Attorney General. And I said, do you want my help? And her people wanted to reach out to me because they knew I could help locally. So the Queens race. And they didn't. She's like, no, we don't want them. We don't be connected to Libertarians. And they blew it off. She lost by 500 votes. I could have got her 500 votes. And her people knew that. And I was open to helping. So they could have called me up. I could have crossed Queens. I'd have got you 500 votes in Queens. That I would have got you. Again, that's my leverage. 500 votes, I got you. I'll get you that in Queens, right? That I could have got you. They regretted that. So that's what I'm talking about here. I'm sorry, I'm going all over the place, Joan, because your point is a very valid point. If people believe that RFK Jr. still has supporters who will show up and vote because he wants something done, because he needs them, because they value him, then he has leverage. He's not going to be able to make the cash. It's going to be on votes. So if they keep seeing it, it matters, right? Some of you don't realize how important it is. And I'll bring up this is a request I'm going to ask of you because thank you, Joan, bringing this up. If you see someone online say something like, I wish we had a better governor in New York, or I wish we had a better mayor in New York. But Larry Sharpe might run. Larry Sharpe. You might go, that's silly. No. There are people watching that. There are. I know because I've had people come on my show and I've had meetings and I've seen them outside and they go, you know, people talk about you, Larry? It's New York only. Outside of New York, no one's talking about me. But New York people do. If you're running for governor, people go, yeah, that Larry Sharpe guy. Yeah, I remember him. They say that. Why does that matter? Am I all of a sudden going to win the governorship? No. But does it give me more leverage? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And they at a minimum want to keep me quiet, which they try every single time. So yes, at least keep me quiet, keep me out of the race. Because again, if I can pull to 2-3%, I have leverage. Again, only in New York State. Clearly, RFK Jr. has far more leverage than me and throughout the country. I was not trying to put myself into RFK Jr.'s shoes. I was showing in a microcosm what he has nationwide. He can do that nationwide and has a higher percentage than me, right? I'm local and have a smaller percentage. He is nationwide with a larger percentage. And if people are still talking about him, then he still has value. That Liberty lady, she is over on Rumble and she says, a lot of people in Florida know Larry Sharpe. Thank you so much. Thank you. I got some people around the country. Couple. I'm not RFK Jr. though. I got a couple. So yes. All right. P says, Senate confirmation, a worm, bear, and whale walk into a bar. You have just said it. Yes, you can guarantee that piece. Well done. Thank you for the $5, by the way. Absolutely correct. Yes. They're going to bring up the brain worm. They're going to bring up the bear. They're going to bring up all the guaranteed. Yes. And they're going to bring them all up. Yes. 100% you'll see it. It's going to be a circus. It's going to be a circus. And you're going to watch the grandstanding and all that stuff. 100% yes. You're going to watch it all. And he has to go through it. But look, this is how you become the head of HHS. That's how you do it. That's it. So yes. Anyway. I know. So funny. So funny. Michael says, former advisor. Oh, that guy, former advisor now? Yeah, kind of. Yeah, kind of. Yep. Absolutely. Kate says, RFK, JFK, MLK being released in 15 days. I'll believe when I see it. Do you not think he'll do it, Kate? Do you think somehow they'll stop it? Well, look, it's a valid concern. Let me touch it if I could then, Kate. Is it possible the deep state literally does the same thing I was just talking about? It goes, yeah, we'll get it, but we can't find it, or we lost it, or we have to redact this or redact that. Maybe. But again, the problem they're going to have is this is very popular. And popularity, this is politics. Popularity matters. It just does. Pigabell says, you don't get into leadership if you're not already on the take. I'm not saying you're wrong, Pigabell. I'm not saying you're wrong. Ryan's on side. He says Pigabell is very true. Yeah, he's on our side here. Absolutely. There we go. So, all righty. Let's see if I can go down here. Shan says, that's what I can't stand about some libertarians. Why even get in the ballot if you're going to waste it? I'm with you. I am with you, Cheyenne. It drives me crazy. I am with you. Yes. Ryan says, Larry, did he try to sell you some Trump steaks? He did not. He did not try and do that. No, not at all. But, I might have bought some. I mean, I do like steak. So, yeah, absolutely. Andrea says, I voted for Trump most because of RFK. A lot of people did. I think literally millions. Millions. Anti-corporatist, decisive 1.4%. Yes. And I'll say it again. People often bring this up, AC. They say, well, it wasn't that, because X, Y, and Z. It's because of the relativism. And let me give you the relativism why I say this. This is my logic on this. One, a Republican hasn't won the popular vote since George W. Bush. And that was because of 9/11. 9/11. Can I say that now? It's been 20 years. I guess you won't. Yeah, because of that. Wasn't for that, he wouldn't have. Which means one wouldn't have won. A Republican wouldn't have won the popular vote since literally Reagan. So timing. Number two, in case you didn't know, I think you do know this, AC. Trump is a convicted felon, 34 counts. Prior president who lost the last election, and in case you didn't know, held liable for SA on a woman. You know what SA stands for? A woman held liable, not guilty, liable, because it was civil of that. And what people will call him, because he was called an actual RAPIST. So there were people in this country who called him that and treated him as such, and a felon. And on top of that, he was impeached twice. On top of that, 1/6 was also an issue. On top of that, all those things were there. And he was literally called by half of the country a member of a certain party from 1930s Germany and the H-man himself multiple times. You add all of that together, and he wins the popular vote, that's decisive. That is my logic behind what I'm saying. If it was just a Democrat winning that way, I would not call it decisive. You're right. Larry's double standard. No. If the Democrat had gone through all those things, I would say the same thing. I would say the same thing. The Democrat had gone through all things, I would say that would be true. But that's not. So it's decisive based upon the issues around it. That is why I say decisive. Now, you may disagree. I understand if you do, but I want you to understand why I say it. I say that because of those issues. I hope that makes sense, at least, whether you agree or not. So Ryan says, I've been watching the Hegseth confirmation hearing, and it's been a circus. Yes. RFK Jr. will be the Hegseth drama on steroids. Dems are grandstanding. Yes. Look, some people try to act like the Dems don't want this. They want to get rid of everybody. No, they don't. They can't wait to have this. Remember when they were talking about having, what was it called again? I forgot the title of it. Oh my God. When the Senate is not working, I forgot the name of it now. When the Senate's not working, they're going to have those hearings, right? So they're going to have those hearings when the Senate's not working, right? I forgot what it's called. Now, someone sure will help me out. Anyway, whatever that thing was, they were going to do that, and people were like, Democrats, they don't want that because they don't want to stop. I'm like, no, Democrats want to have the hearings. They can't wait, and you heard me say it. They can't wait to have the hearings, so they can do this. Thank you, Matt. Recess appointments. That's. Thank you, guys. Yes, Kate. Recess. Thank you. Recess. I can remember the word. Yes, the recess appointments. Yes, they're like, don't do recess appointments. Why? Because they want to have this. They want to have the circus, and it's happening now. Democrats are not unhappy about this at all. Of course not. Peace over on Rumble says, thank you for $1. Dean supports Larry's remote platform, but sad question, does not display on the show. StreamYard should fix that. How can it be? I know, yes, it doesn't pop up here. I have like 3 things open at the same time. I actually have literally three screens here, which different things opened up all over the place. Like, because I have to open different ones for each one. It is, it's challenging here, but I do what I have to do. Yes. But guys, thank you so much for the recess appointment thing. I knew it was there and I forgot what it was. So, in any case, I at least hope I answered your question, AC. I know you don't agree, but I hope at least you get what I'm saying. So, agreeing or not. So, maybe at least that's something. So, the other piece I want to bring up is once this is over, meaning he gets confirmed, we are going to have to make sure that we still talk about this. Again, why? Leverage is what matters. If there's no leverage, he is going to fail. They're going to hammer him. That's how it works. They're going to hammer him if he doesn't have leverage. Leverage means they believe that people will vote based upon what he does. Now, his problem is he's not a great politician. I'm just being forward. He's not a great politician. He's going to have people around him who say, oh, hey, head on down to Pennsylvania's so-and-so district and go do a fundraiser for this guy. If you notice, I do that. He has to go do that. And then he goes to the fundraiser for this guy, and all of a sudden they start raising some money for this guy at a local level. And they go, oh, wait a minute, this guy can raise money just by showing up? And I'm going to get some votes? And then this guy wins. And they go, oh, wait a minute. And you might go, Larry, does it matter if he wins somewhat of a city council run? Yes. Yes, it does. Because the city council guy goes, hey, state senator, why don't you have Bobby Kennedy Jr. show up? I raised like 14 grand. 14 grand? You ran for city council. Yeah. And I raised 14 grand for city council. And I won. And I thought I was going to lose. Why don't you bring Bobby Kennedy down there? And that will happen. And then he'll go do some state thing. And all of a sudden, Republicans start going, this dude's a moneymaker. Okay. People vote for it. Okay. That's the leverage he needs. That's the leverage he needs. That is the leverage he needs. So will he do it? I don't know. We, if we care about it, have to let him know, chat about it. Yes. Phil says, Bhattacharya is another major one I'm excited about. Correct. There are some good ones. Kim says, Dr. Ards is a prevention type of doctor. He's in a pull push type. Ooh, I didn't know that. That's a good thing, Kim. Okay, I wasn't aware of that. That's good. I like that. That's a good thing. Yes. AC's talking to Kim. He says, okay, Kim, didn't you hear? Google donated to Trump's inaugural fund, so they're all good now. This is the good and bad of Trump, to be forward. This is the good and bad of him. But most things with Trump is a double-edged sword. Another one. He can be good with you in 5 minutes. Like, he's your enemy now and he's your buddy tomorrow. Sad, the reverse is also true. He was your buddy now, he's your enemy tomorrow. Both are true. So that can be good and bad. But you're right, AC. Trump's mad at me. Here's a check. Trump's not mad at me. Okay. That kind of is the way it works. So yes. Any case, I do. That's both good and bad, right? I mean, I could see it either way. I could see it great. So yeah, it is kind of funny. So, all righty. Martin says they can cut budgets for agencies all the time. Then a staff gets 86. Yeah, but again, if they're doing that, right, that is reorging, and they could do that too. The problem is, you don't necessarily want to, depending upon what you're doing, and the budget depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're cutting the budget to just cut the budget, or you're cutting the budget to be effective. The problem is you can cut the budget and then only keep garbage. So you've got to do both, which again, you're not wrong. I'm just saying it can be very challenging to do it right. And then to fight through the politics of it. Another piece. So yes. Sergeant Destroyer says, if RFK doesn't make it, will Trump use Ben Carson? Just a thought. I don't think so. Matt says, damn my ADHD and putting things off. My Lottery Shop membership is renewed before switching over to Sharpe Way. That's okay. You're still important. It doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. It's all good. So yes. All righty. Let's see if I can sit here. Phil says 54% of full-time are on site. The 94% was from a survey of Federal Works. Oh, okay. So 54% of them on. So 46 are not on site? That's still a lot. That's still a lot. 46%? Wow. Yeah. That's a tough one. Yeah. Wow. Alexa says he had a crazy guy get into his house into second flush. True. Some guy did break into Bobby Kennedy's house. Yeah, that's true. Yep. Absolutely. It did happen. Look, the reality of it is, that it is dangerous, right? Doing what he does is dangerous. And you have to be brave or crazy or both to do it. To be forward, again, I know I'm talking about myself a bit here, but I'm saying because I get it. In my 2022 run, I did not have any. Well, that's not true. I did have one, maybe two. All right. I didn't. How do I walk down this road? During my 2018 campaign, I had a couple of, I don't know if I can say it on YouTube, DEATH threats. Only 2 did we think were credible. The rest we did not think were credible, just people mad at me for whatever. There were 2. One case I was able to get security early on. I used militias for my security in 2018. Second, Lightfoot out of Western New York. I used them for my security. So one of them we thought we had a problem, so I used them for security. One of them we got too late. We didn't have any security. It's true story. I had a guy with me at the time, and he's like, Larry, you still want to go? I said, yeah. So I called my wife, didn't tell her what was happening, told her I loved her, going to an event, and see you soon. And I went in. Luckily, nothing happened. There was no real, it was just people talking trash. So we don't know if the other one was actually real and they got scared off by security, or if it wasn't real. The other one we found out wasn't real because I had no security. So they literally could have done whatever they want to do, and they didn't. So that only happened twice in the entire campaign. RFK Jr. gets that probably every day. Probably every day. I got it twice, and my campaign was a year and a half. So in a year and a half, I had 2 that were credible. I had other people just yelling stuff. That's not real, right? But 2 we thought might have been real. Only twice. I did get a couple in 2022, but they were for the different reasons, other reasons. And those I took care of personally. That's all I will tell you. I took care of, because while they were threats that I could handle. So yeah, no need for security on those. Anyway, I'll keep going. All righty. Ryan goes on. Thank you for $2, my friend. I appreciate all the super chats. I really stirred the pot by bringing up steak earlier. Everybody's hungry now, Ryan. That's your fault. Everybody's hungry now. I eat a lot of steak, by the way. I do. I'm on keto. I eat a lot of steak. And I cook it myself. Funny, I hardly ever go out to eat. I cook almost all my meals myself. It's very rare I go out to eat. I go out to eat. And it's rare I order. It's almost all of my meals I prepare myself for myself and my daughter. Almost every day. I only eat twice a day. I eat usually around noon and usually around 6 or before the show, usually. Sometimes I'm so busy I can't eat dinner. And my team gets mad at me when I don't eat, but I tell them that I couldn't eat dinner. I get so busy sometimes. But so I usually eat twice a day. And I cook almost all my meals, and I eat steak. My daughter likes steak better than pork, so we usually have steak, but I cook it myself because I'm good at that. All right, thank you for that. All right, Kate, thank you for the $5. How do we create RFK2 block? Okay, everything we did in Illinois was despite the campaign. Nobody here trusts them. We started a new Illinois party for 28. All right, Kate, number one issue. If you want to build out any type of political party organization, I'm going to give you number one issue and then two things. Number one is you are going to have a face for that party no matter what. Or that movement. Movement based on the idea only is going to fail. That may sound crazy, but remember, movements are heavily based upon emotion. Emotions get people up. Emotions get people to move. Now, hopefully you have good leadership that gives you the right things to be effective and efficient. I hope so. But the motivation is almost always done by an individual, right? So you have a face to that movement, number one. Number two, do not focus on organizing. That may sound completely backwards, but I'm telling you it's true. Focus on a mission. You will watch people begin to organize as they can. It will get better. So as an example, say you're in Illinois and you want to start someone who cares about healthy food in Illinois. I'm making that up, but that's conceptually healthy food in Illinois. Awesome. Find a guy or gal who can represent that movement. Maybe it's a farmer. Maybe it's a former congressperson. Maybe it's someone who ran for office. Maybe it's an entrepreneur, whatever. Someone who will say, yeah, I will be the chair, or I'll be the candidate, or I'll be the executive director, whatever. I'll be the face of this thing. If they're a good leader, even better. If they're not required. They have to be somehow popular in some way, have some type of credential or background that someone can respect, and hopefully be charismatic. Not required, though, but it could just be someone who's been through some trouble, someone who's been a successful farmer, someone who used to run for office, whatever. Get a face. Number one. Number two, what's the mission of the movement now? The one right now. Well, we got to make things better. That's not a mission. What's the mission right now? Well, the mission right now is, I'm making this up, Kate, for sake of argument. You will figure out whatever it is. We're going to change a law that affects dairy farmers in Illinois. I made it up, right? But there's a bad one that affects dairy farmers in Illinois. And change that law. You might go, but Larry, there's so many things. I don't care about the so many things. What's the one thing? Could be that, change that law. It could be winning an election. We're going to make sure that we get one of our people to be a member of the Illinois State Senate. Could be that. Could be going to be we're a mayorship. We're going to be a mayor of a town. I don't care what the goal is. One goal with a face. Now organize. Most people worry about organizing first. Not number one. If you organize first, nobody shows up. Nothing gets done. You got to be organized. No, you don't. Move forward first. Get the right people, start moving forward. Organize as you do it. Much better way of doing it. Do that, you'll see things work. Right? I've watched New York State more than once. I've watched the Libertarian Party more than once. When we had Gary Johnson in 2016, this was the best the party had been in years. Not because Gary Johnson was an amazing candidate. He wasn't a bad candidate. I love Gary. I still love Gary Johnson. If he ran again, I still support him. I love Gary Johnson. He's a great man. I love him. But I'm being forward, though. He wasn't like he was the most wonderful, charismatic guy we ever had. Not that. But what did he have? He had run before, number one. We knew he was Libertarian. He had run before. So that's true. He had represented us before. And he was governor. He had what I just said. He had the credentials that were required to be the face of our party. Right? He was a governor. He had run before. Clearly, he had the face of that where we needed it. He was the guy for that. From that, we had the mission. Win presidency. Yes. Libertarian Party was pretty organized then. We got together. People buried the hatchet. People who were radical, like, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to put up. People who were boring, like, I'm going to let the radicals talk. I mean, both sides came together. We were, I mean, it wasn't perfect, obviously, but I'm saying relative to what it's been. It was great compared to what it's been. It was great. A lot of fundraising, tons of votes, a lot of organization, 50 state ballot access. Why? The two things I talked about were at top. Our organization before this happened was just as bad as it always was, just as good. It got better because we had those two things. A person up front and an obvious mission. So, Kate, what I would ask you to do is remember that. Person up front, obvious mission. And again, I love Gary Johnson. Wasn't our most charismatic speaker. So it's a benefit if they're charismatic. That's awesome if you can get that. Not required, but awesome if you can get that. I hope that makes sense in how you have to grow this thing forward. If you do that right, you'll see everything else come into place. And it will take time. It won't be tomorrow. But if you have those things up front, more people come too. People start coming going, oh, wait a minute. Kate's doing stuff. She is. They're moving to get that whatever law changed, or that dairy farmer law. Oh yeah, who's attached that? That guy, that gal Jane Doe. Remember, she was that farmer. Oh, I remember her. Yeah, she's on board too. There's your face. There's your mission. People start coming. Take some time. People start coming. So, anyway, I hope that was helpful. I will keep going down here if I could. All right. Ryan says, Larry, I left the GOP in 2013. Wow, a while ago. Okay. Fark Norcam says, I think the big reason Bobby Kennedy Jr. survived his presidential run was because he hired Gavin DeBecker to protect him. I think it's true. He had private security. I did too. But I was very lucky. In 2018, the people who were behind me were so motivated. They did it for free. I didn't pay for security. I know it sounds crazy. I didn't pay for it. They were like, no, we'll do it. They literally did the whole thing for free. Didn't ask for a thing. They really believed in me. And I will never forget that. And people were like, why do you care about militia so much? Because they protected me for free. Yeah. They couldn't protect me in the city though. I couldn't get security in the city because they would get arrested in New York City because of their gun laws. The New York City gun laws would have them all arrested. So I couldn't have them protect me in the city. In the city, I was on my own. But outside the city, I could use militia. I couldn't use it in the city. Anyway, some crazy stuff that you guys might think is kind of nutty, but that's true. That literally is what has been happening. So anyway, I know it's a little bit crazy. But when you run for office, that's what happens. Colita says, RFK Jr. created the crack that allows the light to flow in. Yes. And this is my point, right? I remember I was talking, I think it was on a Vanguard. Those of you know, the Vanguard is a very left-leaning podcast out of Missouri. I was on their show and I was talking about how I was supporting RFK Jr. and how I would also support, even Cornel West. They're like, why would you support Cornel West? He's a Marxist. He's not like you. True. It's accurate. I mean, look, you guys might know, I know Cornel West. I've been on stage with him more than once. I like the man personally. A lot of people have issues with him. I don't. I like him personally a lot. I think he's an amazing speaker. He's a good man. He's caring when he talks to you. He's talking to you. So I happen to like him. Now, our politics are almost night and day. I mean, they're very different. He is happily a Marxist in his perfect world, but far more left than I am in many ways. Absolutely. Doesn't matter. If I had an option of him or the establishment, I would still vote for him. And they were like, why? Because if he can break a hole, everyone can go through. I still believe that. Colita, you're right. If RFK Jr. makes any impact, others can, whether you believe in what he's saying or not. Imagine if he didn't even get on the ballot here in New York, but imagine if if Cornel West was on the ballot here in New York State. I'd have voted for him. And I would have. I'm just being very forward. I would have. Because if I could have got him to get, if I believed he'd get to 130,000 votes, which is what's required in New York State to become a party, and I could have got another party in New York State, I'd have done it. Why? Because once that happens, now that party can fight to stay on the ballot, which means they'll lower the entry so I can get on. So if Cornel West gets on the ballot in New York State, it helps me. Colita, you are correct. Our common enemy, whether you are far left or far right, is anti-establishment. Our common enemy, if you're the average American, whether you lean left or lean right, is the establishment. Anyone who can break the establishment is our ally to break the establishment. Now, let's say Cornel West had gotten into power and I got into power. We probably would have fought in the assembly or fought in the state senate, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay. You see my show. I am happy having anybody say their views. I want more conversation, not less. I do not like the establishment at all. So yes. Margaret, thank you for the $10. I appreciate it. Gavin DeBecker would have provided free security for Bobby. He couldn't because of FEC rules. It would have been considered an in-kind donation. Correct. I think that's also correct, Margaret. I think he probably would have because he was also a donor. So yes, and that was an issue. He was a donor, but he had to get paid. Correct. And I know because I was working with American Values, the super PAC that supported RFK Jr., and we sometimes paid his security bill because someone had to. So we would do it. Yep, 100%. So you're right. He would have. And the issue is I didn't have to worry about that in my case. So anyway, and the reason why I didn't have to is because the militias in New York State aren't officially companies that get paid. So there's no way of paying them. You don't do that. It's just volunteers. So that's why. But yes, I think you're correct. DeBecca was a big supporter and still is. 100%. So yes. All righty. Let's see here. Mike goes on. Oh, yeah. Mike's talking about what we were talking about earlier. He says, very true. The most important is the person controlling the votes that lock the win. Correct. Yes. Whoever locks the win is the key. 100%. If you have enough to get them over the top, that's the key. If you do. And in certain cases, I don't, and no one cares. And in certain cases, I do. And then they all of a sudden, Larry's my best friend all of a sudden. So yes, that's how that works. I agree. All righty. Kim says, I always post Larry Sharpe 4. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Larry Sharpe for Speaker of the House. I guess, yes, that would work. 100%. Yeah, that would work. AC says, give me $347 million to spend and I'll make you next president. No, Summer. No, you will not. That's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough. No. 347 million, he can be a player. He can't win with that. He would have to become, Mike would have to be the Republican nominee for that. There's no way an independent would win on that. Not Mike. No. I could because I'm magical, but I'm magical. That's the difference though. See, I am magical. So yeah, there we go. Jan says, during the censorship hearings of 2023, RFK Jr. was accused of being a yes when it comes to race and yes when it comes to the people of the Semitic type. The worst. Yes, and they won't stop. I don't think they'll go there this time. I don't think so. But they might, Jen. They might. Yes, they might. It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. All righty. If I grab a couple more of these. Adrian says, the people who voted for Trump and down ballot for Republicans because of RFK may not win the next election if they go after RFK in the hearing. There's the other piece, right? Depends on where they are. That was my point earlier, Adrian. If they're in a more purple district, you're right. That was my point earlier when I said purple or deep red. Deep red, they don't care, right? If they know they're going to win by 30, 40 points, they don't care about RFK. Doesn't matter. RFK's maybe 5%, right? Which still, again, that's 5%, but maybe 5%. In your deep red district, you don't care about that. That's nothing. RFK is some dude to you. You're in a purple district, you care. The purple district Republicans will care about that. The red districts, deep red, they won't. So that's the difference. So it depends on where they are, 100%. And also something else, if they're not running for 6 more years, they may not care then. They're like, it's 6 years. Who cares? It's 6 years. I don't mind. They could do that too. It's another option. So yeah. All righty. All right, so if I can grab through here. Where if I can grab this real fast. All right, P says, I just cooked filet mignon and asparagus, my favorite. I'm coming over. All right, I gotta jump. Let me jump on a train. I'll get down in a couple hours. That's good. All righty. Kate says, our mission is to run a candidate for office. Oh, I like that. I think it might be a guy who was a mechanic and helped to fix Kyle Kemper's van when it broke. Oh, that is nice. I like that. Now you're on your way there. You're on your way, Kate. You're on your way. You also have, when you have Alejandro here. I love that. You're on your way. Keep moving down that road and this will be able to work. Yes. Keep moving down that road. Yes. Absolutely. Cases, I like the one thing. Yeah. That keep going down that road, you will see it. 100%. 100%. All right. Shelly says, but if Gary Johnson had won, we'd have Bill Weld, distant relative of mine. Yes. Look, here's what I think about Bill Weld. There is no one, not one person, who spent more time, energy, and money to stop Bill Weld from being the VP than I did. No one. No one. I agree. And in the end, after I lost that election by 31 votes, not that I'm counting, stop counting, Shelley. I'm not counting, you're counting. After I lost the election with 31 votes, not that I'm mad about it or anything, not that I care, not that I still think about it. No, I don't. I don't think about it. Stop thinking about it. Not that I do, but after I lost that vote by 31 votes, I still supported him because Gary Johnson winning with Bill Weld would still have made a massive, huge change in our world. Huge. Absolutely. So I still would have done it, even though I was not a Bill Weld fan. Peace Logic, thank you for the $5. I heard you say in an interview 6 years ago, 2 million and I win governor. True? Not a small sum, but do right. Yes. Let's be clear. 2 million in 2018 would have been a win for sure. Because at that point, the Republican only raised 3 million total. 2022 probably been a little bit higher, but in 2018, that would have been true. Yes, the Republican raised about $3 or $4 million. They originally only raised 3, but then I was such a pain. I'm not joking. I was such a pain in the ass for them in 2018. The Republicans had to drop another $1 million into the fight to ensure that I was pushed aside. And that was in the last 2 months of the campaign. So they raised about 3 or 4 at the end, about 4 or 5 in the end because of me being such a jerk and pushing them forward. So that is true. This time, I would only need about 2 million, 3 million now. If I raise $2 or $3 million, and if I run in 2026 next year, I'll be the governor. I'm not joking. Why do I say that? Because New York State has matching funds. And that means for if I raise $500,000 from New Yorkers, which with $2 million I could do just for advertising, the state gives me 6-to-1 funds. So if I raise 500,000, I get 3 million. I'm not joking. It's just government give me money. Yes, that's how the system works. Just government give me money. So I raise $500,000, I get 3 million. My max is 6 million. So if I raise another 500,000, I get another 3 million. You give me $6 million in New York State, I win. As an independent, not even as a Republican Democrat. Why? If I run as an independent with $6 million, when I run, all I do is run. I don't work. You won't see me doing it. I'll be just running all day. That's all I'll do. I'll do 3, 4, 5 events every day for a year. I'll just keep doing it. I'll meet everybody. And to do that, I'll get on TV. I'll get back on the circuit, all those things. I'll be back on Joe Rogan, all those things again. So yeah, I'd only have to get 35% of the vote because it'd be a 3-way race. 35%, 40% of the vote, it's a win. So yeah. So to answer your question, probably now it's probably about 2 million now because of matching funds. I probably still 2 million. In 2022, we didn't have matching funds. I probably needed 3 or 4. But in 2026, we have matching funds now, which just started. So yeah, $2 million, and I'm the governor. If the Republicans are smart and they back me anyway, it's a slaughter. It's a slaughter. I would slaughter Kathy Hochul. She would have no chance of victory. None. A Republican will still lose to her because New Yorkers hate Republicans. They love Trump. Now, if Trump ran for governor, he might beat her. They love Trump. They don't love Republicans. Democrats still hate Republicans. Sorry. New Yorkers still hate Republicans. They still hate Republicans. It's still true. I mean, I know Republicans hate when I say it, but it's just a fact. The data is there. Republicans are leaving my state like there's no tomorrow. Democrats are staying. So Democrats they hated Harris and liked Trump, but they don't like Republicans. It's just a thing. So you need to have someone who's not a Republican, which is me. And they know who I am. And I've run twice and I have a face. I'm not afraid to go talk to people and sit in diners and do those things. So yes. So to answer your question, in long run, that was a long question, but yes, with $2 million piece, I'll be able to raise enough money to where the state will give me $6 million. So I will wind up having about $8 million. With $8 million, I will win the governorship. Unbeatable, whether Republicans back me or not. If this actually happens, Republicans will be smart to back me, but they may not because they care more about grifting generally than they care about winning. But I would absolutely win. It's no doubt. So yes, to answer your question, it was a long-winded one, but yes. So anyway, let me keep doing it if I could. All righty. Let's see here. Kate says, thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Yes, there we go. The AC says they had a great interview with Emma Vigeland today. Yeah, the Vanguard has been really making a lot of good stuff going on recently. Yeah, a lot of good stuff going on. Absolutely. Yeah. I like the guys. They don't like talking to me though. They're like whatever. They don't like talking to me. They don't like libertarians at all. They're very. I know they're far left. I know that. I don't care. I tell left people all the time. I don't mind at all. But they don't like talking to libertarians. They don't like, and I think it's their audience. It's my guess. Their audience, when I talk to them, they're very nice to me. They're open. I mean, they don't agree, but they're very nice to me, positive, don't call me names, all those things, very nice. But their audience, brutal. Oh, brutal. Attack and name calling. Ugh, horrible. Their audience is terrible to me. I still go, and I will go again, but they're just terrible. So, yes. Kate says, did you see Cornel West $999 fundraiser? He's advertising. You get 2 free drink tickets. No, I did not know that. Yeah. No, Cornel West was going to have problems because he was unable to cross over. That was one of his issues. But man, can he work a room. I don't know if you have a chance, you can go on my, if you wanted to go on my YouTube page, Larry Sharpe YouTube page, and put in Cornel West when you search for my page. I have 2 videos. One, me, him, and Maj Touré at Freedom Fest. I mean, he rocks the room. And then another one when I moderated a debate with him, Lars Mapstead, and 2 of the libertarians at Libertarian Party of California. He got a standing O. Guy gets a standing O. A Marxist gets a standing O at the Libertarian Convention. I mean, the guy can talk. I'm just telling you. He is talented. He's good at what he's good at what he does. He just is. Yes. Ryan goes, Sharpe boss. We can't, both from New York. Gotta kick Mike out. Gonna kick him over to, gonna kick Boss over to Connecticut. Sorry, Mike, you got booted. So yeah, then maybe, but can't do it that way. Yes. Shelly says, if you're magical and you're both good friends, does that mean he's Magic Mike? Sorry. Oh, I like that. Mike and Magic Mike. There we go. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. I do like that. All righty. I keep going down here. Kim says, RFK still did what they thought can't be done. He got enough signatures to get rid of every ballot. Very true. Yes, absolutely. Margaret says, what I said about Gavin DeBecker is not my opinion. It's fact. DeBecker made a video about it. I think it's on YouTube. He's a great guy. My husband's director of fundraising for RFK Jr.'s campaign. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. I did a lot of fundraising for the PAC. 100%. I did a lot for it. That's true. Ryan goes on to say, ballot access is a pain in the keister thanks to duopoly and them always moving the goalposts. Truly sleazy crap. Yes. Sam says, it will be a 2-way race. Larry versus whoever's running the DNC. Republicans can't win New York. Larry can. Correct, Sam. I'm glad you recognize that. Correct. Yes, that is accurate. Look, New York GOP, if you're listening, you're not going to win in New York City. You're not going to win across New York State in a statewide election. Locally, yes. You need someone who's not a Republican that you can support, that your Republicans can feel comfortable voting for. That guy is the guy who's talking right now. That guy is the guy who could win if you let him run in your primary. That's the guy who you let him run as an independent, which he is, not a Republican, and you can still win. In New York State, for those who don't know, we have what's called fusion voting. Fusion voting is very rare. New York State does it more than anybody else. I think only 7 states is it legal at all. Most states have very specific rules for it. New York doesn't. If you're a political party, you can just say, you know what? I'm going to accept Sam on my line, period, because I like Sam. But Sam's not your party member. I don't care. Sam's already on another line. I don't care. He can be on 2 lines. And New York goes, okay. So literally Sam can be listed on 2 lines. And all the votes he gets are combined. That's how New York State works. So I could run as an independent and get votes on that line, and also run as a Republican and get votes on that line. There is a woman who I met in Albany who literally has the conservative line, the Republican line, and the Democratic line. She runs on all 3 of them. So whichever you are, put your vote down. She gets that vote. So you are correct, Sam. And some of you are like, what? That is how New York State works. You were like, I thought New York State was weird. I didn't know it was that weird. Oh, no. It is that weird. It is that weird. Correct. Yes. Kim goes on to say, Ryan, they tightened ballot access after Ross Perot got an all 51 ballots, 92. Correct, Kim. I'm glad you brought that up. That is correct. Yes. Ross Perot, while he did a great, great making people think about independence, also made sure that it all got crushed. Yes, both of those things. Yes. P says, I got mixed feelings from the Vanguard show. Yes, the audience, Larry. That's it. They attacked me. I wasn't even being controversial. You don't have to be. The Vanguard's audience is brutal. Brutal. Luckily, I've been brutalized many times, so it wasn't a big deal for me. But yes, they are absolutely brutal. Yes, they will just, and they just hammer you, like hammer you. I came on, it was immediate attacks. I didn't say a word yet. You're not one of us. Get them. That was it. So yeah, 100%. It's just how they work. I don't mind. I was happy. Some of them come to watch me sometimes still. And it's remember who I am. I will take it. Absolutely. I will absolutely take it. Whatever I can get, I will absolutely take it. So yes. Phil says, we should take over the Conservative Party. It could be done with a couple dozen people. Probably, maybe. The problem is the second that you'd start, Phil, Republicans would filter in. The Republicans don't really mess with the Conservative Party because there's no chance of it failing them. If they thought it would, they'd flood it. Like Democrats flooded the Working Families Party when that happened. So right now, you're right. We'd have to do it like under the table somehow. Otherwise, we couldn't. Guys, I'm going to ask you one more time if I could. Please click the button known as like. That's what matters more than anything. Click the button known as like. If you haven't shared this yet, please do so. It does matter. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Every subscriber matters. It does matter tremendously. Please rant me, super chat me if you want. Either one is good. Love them both. Make sure you select all notifications. Membership. I know I bug you about membership. The more members, the better. Click join on YouTube or during the live, click subscribe on Rumble. Any of those matter. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do if you don't mind. Once this live is over, I want you to put in the chat. Please put in the chat and I will respond. I always respond eventually, sometimes a little bit later, but I always respond. Please put in the chat what your biggest concern is for confirmations, whether it's Hegseth, whether it's RFK Jr., whatever it is. What is your concern for the confirmations coming up here? Please let me know. I'm going to respond if you could. I will be on tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'll be on. I might do an AMA tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure when, but I will do an AMA. People have been asking me about stuff. Some of you have been asking me about my consulting. I'm happy to talk about that too during an AMA. I will do that too if you want. But either way, please put that in the chat if you would. I appreciate it. I will see you all very soon.